This new budget ARRMA Mini RC truck could be something we've all been waiting for. Most people want cheap and fast, cheap and durable, and cheap and cool. One RC car which I have featured recently certainly ticks every one of those boxes, but it's not made by a world famous RC brand. No, instead it's made by a cheaper Chinese company called MJX, and just take it from me, it's an absolute beast. This is the brand new ARRMA Granite GROM. It's a 1/18 scale mini monster truck, and I think it may have potential to be the best cheap RC car of the year. That is, of course, if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of performance, but we'll talk more about that later. And just like you see on the title there, I think a lot of people are going to be asking for this little truck for Christmas. Guys, this is the brand new ARRMA Granite GROM. And here it is, this is the new ARRMA Granite GROM, and initial impressions, well, it's just a miniature version of the 1/10 scale Granite. It certainly looks a lot like it, and just getting it out the box then, I did notice it does have some good weight about it. And that is a good sign because that means it's well built. And that's exactly what we expect from an ARRMA. Now, I really like the colours on this, and RochesterRC picked this one out for me, and I think they've done a great job because I think this is my favourite colour. Now, I'm super excited to see how this little truck actually performs, but we need to get the boring stuff out the way first. So let's remove the battery and see what we get. So we have a Spectrum 1400 mAh 2S LiPo. This thing is 30C and it's one of their smart batteries. I also like the fact that this does come with a hard case. And to charge the battery, we have our Spectrum Smart Charger. We have this big bag of accessories. Let's take a look at what we get in here. So in here we have some kind of hex tool, we have one of these, some of these, and some of them, and of course a very nice black and white manual, as you would expect from an ARRMA. Finally, transmitter wise, and we've got the SLT2. These aren't actually too bad. We do get a nice foam grip on the wheel. We've also got steering dual rate and steering trim adjustments, and this is really cool on the back because you can set your throttle to 50%, 75% or 100%. And I don't think this truck is going to be insanely fast anyway, but that's good to have, because if you want to hand it to a kid, you can turn things right down. And in there we have the included 4 AA batteries. So back to the truck then. Now let's talk about some of the features on this. Now we'll start with the front bumper. This thing is hard plastic, but they do say that is impact absorbing. We've also got a hard plastic bumper on the rear. Let's get this body off. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it one-handed. But before we do that, let's talk about today's sponsor. And of course, it's RochesterRC. They've sent me out the ARRMA Granite GROM to feature on the channel. And if you're in the UK and you haven't been using these guys to buy all of your RC cars and parts, then what have you been doing? Now, the guys at RochesterRC are incredibly knowledgeable. And if you visit them at their new shop, they'll definitely be able to help you out. But if you can't get to the shop, you can still buy on their website, and best of all, if you use code beyondRC, you'll be able to get 5% off your entire order, and you'll also get free shipping. And of course, if you want to buy the truck featured on today's video, you'll also be able to get 5% off of that. If all of this sounds interesting, I'll leave all the links down below. So I'm still trying to get the body off one-handed. I think I've managed to get this side. Yes, I have. Let's try and get the other side off. Hey. So this is the new clipless body, which is actually really cool. The body slides into there, and then you've got this little mechanism at the back which holds these little pins in. Yeah, that's actually quite a cool feature. So even though this thing is tiny at 1/18 scale, they've still given us some really cool features, including proper oil-filled shocks, and I'm very pleased to see that, because you know how I feel about friction shocks. I think they should be banned. Yes, I know some companies do it because they want you to spend the money on the upgrades, but if you're going to buy ready to run in 2023, I'm sorry, but I expect proper oil-filled shocks. And if you agree with me, drop a comment down below and tell me how much you hate friction shocks. So we have a composite chassis on this. Doesn't this thing look cool? And it's really good to see hex hardware. And again, that is rare on a cheap RC car. So as you would expect, this does have ball bearings throughout. It's also got got metal gears. It also has a metal centre drive shaft. We've got metal CVDs on the front, metal dog bones on the rear. Now these tyres are interesting. There's no foam in there, but I think they're still going to perform well because it is a nice soft compound and that should grip nicely off-road. Right, so let's talk about the electronics then, and then we'll give this thing a run. Now we've got a 25 amp 2-in-1 ESC and receiver. Under there we have a 380 size brush motor with a heatsink, and this also has a tiny metal geared servo. Now there is definitely potential here for a brushless upgrade. Right, so let's find out how fast it goes, and to do that we're going to have to hit start on the GPS. And to all those out there who are still talking about it, it's old news. Find something else to talk about. So let's see how fast this little car actually goes then. I think a lot of channels have managed to reach about 19 miles per hour, which isn't too bad actually for such a small little truck. It's certainly not as fast as the MJX Hyper Go. It's definitely quick enough for most people though, especially if you're just starting out in the hobby. It's nice and stable, and that's probably thanks to the extra weight. This thing is definitely well built. Right, let's bring it back, let's see what we got. Nice and simple today. Right, so let's hit read and see what we got. We got 19, pretty much exactly the same that all the other channels are getting. That's not too bad for such a small little truck. It's a quick off-road test then. Now straight away, it does handle really well, although I think the MJX Hyper Go handles a little bit better. Now that's just my opinion, you may disagree, but the Hyper Go just feels slightly better when it comes to handling. Now of course we are down on power a little bit because this does have the brushed power system compared to the Hyper Go having the brushless system, and I do have to say the lack of power is definitely noticeable. But you have to remember, I review a lot of cars throughout the year, which is why it is so noticeable to me. If you're just starting out in the hobby and you're looking for your first RC car with really good parts availability, well, this one could tick all the boxes. Now, I think once this thing is brushless, it's going to be an entirely different beast, and that's definitely going to be my plan. I'm going to go brushless, and then we'll do another video and see how it performs. Now, we do have to remember as well, this being 1/18 scale, it's also a lot smaller than some of the other trucks out there in the same price range, which will be more capable, because you're going to have bigger tyres, and of course you're going to have more ground clearance. Now that said, this little truck still performed really well today, even though the surface is slightly challenging. So overall, not a bad effort from ARRMA, and it's certainly given us another option when it comes to looking for a cheap RC car. So there we go then guys, that was the brand new ARRMA Granite GROM. Now we have to remember there are a lot of options in this price range, and if you're looking for something fast, well, it's certainly not this. Now that said, this thing does have one major benefit. This thing is going to have great part support because ARRMA is known across the world. But just bear in mind, it's not going to be as capable as some of the other cars out there because at 1/18 scale, it is really tiny. Now, if you're looking for something to throw in a backpack and take anywhere, well, this thing is going to be great for that. It's also great for a child or a beginner getting into the RC hobby. But if you're an adult, I think you could potentially become very bored very quickly, and you may want to go brushless almost straight away. But just remember, going brushless is going to cost even more money, and then the price rapidly starts to go up. And we also have to remember at this price point, there are a lot of RC cars out there which will outperform this. I think you're really going to be buying one of these for the parts availability. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one, take care. Now if you want to see two really good alternatives, click one of these videos now.